I'll talk
want
with
to read
him
it
specifically.
after everyone, all the other comments. Looks like we have a whole.
Yeah, I'll speak with him specifically.
Items from citizens.
Okay.
There are some other chairs over there.
Yeah,
His voice projects a lot better than everyone's.
yeah, that's no problem at all.
At least from mine. I don't want to read it.
Zoning and covenants, you could have covenants
No.
made.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have anything to say.
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you? Chris? How are you, man?
That building
business?
at the airport.
It's good.
Want to donate.
Keeping busy.
Good on that, right?
We're good on it. I gotta read
Try
some
and
language in this.
Okay. And then we probably should do a title search.
Probably.
I'm gonna scroll one from the receptionist desk.
Yes, I was getting that
I think,
I mean, basically.
I don't know if it shows down
Just present
low
the
or not.
commission and say, hey, we're against this being in our neighborhood. But the bottom line is, it's an R1 neighborhood, what we're trying to put together.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have two or three of them, and then I can. But today
I love that.
I went with
Which one were you gonna
mi-
select?
minimalistic today. Just one. Yesterday I had 3 or 4. Usually I have 2 in case one goes bad. But
You want another one?
okay, thank you.
Toss it to you.
I'm a Boy Scout, so you know, gotta be prepared. Are you recording?
You can't pick and choose.
There's Kevin.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
it'll be okay. You say, hey, we're against this. I got a petition.
Yes, indeed.
Well, this is what the planning and zoning board uses. We'll need the books back.
Just say we are.
This is so if there's questions we can go over.
Oh, don't even think about it. You just told her.
I've beaten that.
Hey, make me swallow that. I was gonna try to make you swallow a little bit, feel bad.
15, 20 minutes, I think.
I'm sick, man.
Yeah. I'll shoot him a text.
She told me.
Yeah, I have 2 at once.
I think that's what might be the latest.
I need to call the meeting to order, please. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Could we have roll call? Present.
Vice Mayor Harnish.
Present.
Commissioner Lennebraker.
Here.
Commissioner Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Warren.
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we have the invocation? Ronnie, would you?
Yeah, yes, thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have given us. We ask that you will guide this commission as we make decisions that affect our community. Be with each and every one of us. Be with our community as we go forth from here today. And we're just thankful that we have this opportunity in this setting where our community can come in and speak with us and let us know what they need. Be with each of us as we leave. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Ronnie. We have no awards or proclamations or presentations, so we'll move on to item number 2, approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner
Commissioner
Lindenbroker to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. The next item is minutes. Approve of the May 26, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
Make a motion that we approve the May 26, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Martinez to approve the May 26, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. The next is items from citizens. If you have something you would like to talk to us about, please come up to the podium. This is our podium, our makeshift podium here. And tell us your name and your address and try to keep it at 5 minutes or less. Hello, Janie.
I will do my best, Madam Mayor. For the record, my name is Janie Kitch, and I'm a native of Liberal, Kansas. And I come before you with a very heavy heart, and I confess a lot of anger. I've waited for a while to be able to come before you and speak. But I am very concerned and very upset by 2 things. One is the treatment of our police officers, and the other is the intent to sell the depot. I've lived here my entire life. I was born here and raised here, and a lot of you know me and have known me for a long time. But when you do what has been happening to the police department, I feel like in essence you're setting a bad example for our community, and our officers don't deserve what's been happening to them. I have friends that are on the police department, and I feel like the police department has been made to feel weakened. No, I'm not part of the police department, I never have been, but I have been on a ride-along, and I've seen the paperwork that they fill out, the stresses that they go through on their job, and they're struggling because they can't afford things just like everybody else is struggling. And they don't deserve to be treated that way, and they don't deserve to be fired and demoted, like I have been told that they have been fired and demoted. And I feel like that has weakened our police department and made their morale very low. And I don't believe that's something that as a community we should have happen, because they're there to protect us, and they walk that thin blue line for all of us because they care about us as citizens. And I believe that they should be treated with respect and decency by everybody, not just by the citizens and people that they protect, but by every single one of y'all, and including Mr. City Manager. I believe that they should be treated with respect that they deserve and the pay that they deserve, because they struggle just like all of us to make ends meet. And I've watched some of them really struggle personally and privately, and I don't believe that that should happen to them. Several of them are my friends, not because I'm a troublemaker, but because they know me from doing Patriot Day for several years. And I believe that they should be treated with the respect that they deserve and with the pay that they deserve, because they're just like all of us who work hard every day and do their jobs. They do their jobs and they don't know if they're going to go home at the end of the day. My other problem is with the depot. I watched that depot almost be destroyed. I watched Max Zimmerman and several people, and I was part of fundraising events whenever they were trying to raise the money to keep that building going and to not have it be torn down. And it bothers me greatly, and I would be one of those people that is like some other people that I visited with. I would go chain myself to that building before I would see it destroyed, because it's part of Liberal's history and it deserves to stay standing. And I've waited for a while because of not being able to be here because of the virus. So I've had this sitting on me for quite a while, so I apologize if it comes across in anger, but I do believe you guys need to know that I'm not the only one that's seen what's been going on. And I really believe our police department deserves to be treated with respect, and our history deserves to be staying right where it's at. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Jane.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry, what, I do apologize, what is this topic on? Are we having just one meeting or two situations, or?
Oh, this is an open discussion for anything you want to bring up and tell us about.
Okay.
There's a lady behind you that's kind of coming up.
sorry.
I'll let you be next, okay?
Okay.
Hello.
Hello everyone, my name is Veronica Torres and I'm here filing a petition against Haven House on 538 West Pine. And if I can give you guys these papers. There's 7 of you guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the reason why I am here and a couple of us here is because we're not against the Haven House being made in here in Liberal, Kansas. We're against being in the residential area, which is right next to my house on Pine Street. The reason why I'm against it is because I care, I guess too much because they're my kids, and I have children and they're underage, and I have to leave them every day to go to work, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I don't think it'll be a safe place to put a house for a rehab center. It's a halfway house, but it's considered a rehab center. These people that are being put in these houses, they're not people that they're just bringing up the streets. They're people that are being sent by the judge orders. So to me, that tells me that there's something wrong, whether it's drugs, alcohol, etc. And another reason is because we were never informed of this house being built, not built, but put into our neighborhood. No one ever notified us or sent us a letter of, if we agree or not. So it was just, to me, they were being sneaky, trying to put it into our neighborhood. Another thing is because my house would devaluate if that happens. My house is paid for. It took me 15 years to pay that house off. I don't think no one wants to pay a house off and have a rehab center right next to their house. Like I told my family, I didn't buy a house next to Escadal or next to the City of the Hill. I bought a house in a residential area. Okay? Another thing, it will be, it'll be different kind of people coming in and out of that building. It'll be mainly men. It's not like, Jose or Marcos or Tony's gonna live there for 2 years, 3 years. It's gonna be different kind of individuals coming through that house. Another thing, they say that it's gonna be safe because they have cameras. What makes, there's no one gonna be taking care of this house. The house is gonna be on their own. Yeah, there's probably gonna be people monitoring here and there, but it's not like somebody's gonna be there with them all the time. And that's a dual house. That dual house has a 2-bedroom house. I don't know how they're gonna fit 8 people in there. So I'm really concerned about this happening right next to my house. I don't have anything else to say.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for presenting all this information and coming out to talk.
Yeah. And thank you for the petitions. Thank you. Okay, you can be next.
Hi, my name is Haley. I'd like to speak on behalf of the Haven House. I'd like to start off in saying, love thy neighbor as yourself.
Excuse me, ma'am. Could you state your last name and address
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
for the record?
I'm Haley Dodson. I'm at City on the Hill, 529 North New York Avenue. I just want to say that without City on the Hill, I wouldn't be here today. People do change. And without people to have love and compassion, even if it's just to save one life, that's worth so much. Just to reach out and take one, lead them to the light, to have a better life. It means so much to us in recovery. I put myself on my own path in City on a Hill. You know, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Without these people and the opportunity to better ourselves, where would we go? Where would we be? Thanks to City on a Hill, I am better than I was yesterday. My faith has grown so much. I have a purpose in life, and I am living now. It's such a big difference. You know, it's just on my heart. God says to love thy neighbor as yourself. Walk in love with compassion. You know, it's just simple fact, not every addict is a criminal, not every addict is a bad person. There's second chances, there's change. Change is beautiful, and I embrace that today. And I love living in this change, and it's my desire. Everybody deserves a chance. Nobody's perfect by no means. But if you just give that one person a chance, a little encouragement, that makes the world a different place. And it makes the world so much beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Tracy Huff. I live at 420 Lilac Drive. My son is in Dodge City, in Oxford House. He lives at Gunsmoke. He is 160 days clean. That means 5 months. And he is the treasurer, chairman, and in next month he's going to be the chairman, the president of the Oxford House. And he's also the chairman of NA Group. So without that, without being rehab, and you have to do rehab to enter the Oxford House, any Oxford House, and you have to go through rehab. So when you enter an Oxford House, you have to be clean. You are put on probation for 60 days. You have chores every other day, and you have to do, you also have to do chores. You have to get a job, and if you leave, like overnight, after so long you can leave overnight. Once you enter that house, you drop your luggage and you do a drug test. If you fail that drug test, you don't get 30 minutes or an hour to say goodbye. You leave that house immediately. And Wyatt's never failed a drug test, and he's been home 5 times. 5 times. And the trash is taken out every other day, and it's taken to the curb. Their lawns are mowed, weed eated, and everything. The yard is kept up. So these boys, everyone, have a job. And they have a meeting every Sunday at 3 o'clock. And the only way that you're excused from that meeting is if you are at work. So, also, the president, you have a president of a house, and every week you have a council meeting, and I think once a month you have everybody, like all Oxford houses get together and they have a big meeting, decide what they're gonna do. And so they're gonna have a big fundraiser pretty soon in Dodge City. And Wyatt's in charge of that also. And he's nervous, but we all said, you're gonna do fine. They wouldn't have put you in charge. So for anybody to say that it's not a good idea. Oh, by the way, this Oxford house that he lives in is a block away from a grade school. From a grade school. And they put it there. So they go to work, they come home, they eat, they hang out, they don't bother anybody. They just want a clean living life. Some have lived there for a year, 6 months. You can live there as long as you want, as long as you're clean and sober. So that's all they want, is a clean, sober life. That's all they want. And they want a second chance in life. So for this town to say, no, we don't want an Oxford house. Why does it have to be next to a school? I can tell you, for a fact, you put anywhere you put a pencil and you draw it around, there's drugs all around. There's drugs 2 blocks from my house, 2 blocks. And I live on my electorate. I live on the nice neighborhood. I know that for a fact. So anybody to say, oh, but it's right down the street from a schoolyard. Yeah, it is. But it's right down the street from me. That's not fair. You guys are not being fair to these kids, these boys. Give them a chance.
Thank you, Mark.
Anybody else want to speak?
Hello.
Hello?
My name's Amanda Heileman. I live at North New York Avenue, 529 North New York. I'm from Dodge City, and my daughter's father is actually in Oxford as well. He's been clean off of meth for 3 years. He's the president of Oxford House. And I'm going to tell you right now, he changed his whole life. He caught some charges, and I'm going to tell you one thing right now. This disease does not discriminate. It can be your mother, it could be your brother, it could be your cousin. And I know everybody in this room probably has somebody in their family or around that has been on drugs or alcohol. You know what I mean? It does not discriminate. So you say that, you don't want them people around, but they're all around us. All of us have an addiction of some kind. May it be food, TV, whatever. The fact of the matter is that we want to change our lives. And these men in Oxford, they go into Oxford because they want to change. And to me, like I said, my daughter's father, he's been clean off of meth for 3 years. And that, to me, that shows that Oxford does change people's lives. He's the president of Oxford House. He runs meetings. He helps save lives every single day. Guys that go into Oxford, he helps change their life. He shares his experience, strength, and hope. And we're all not good in some way. We all have our faults, but we're not bad people. We all make mistakes, and we can change. There is proof of that all around you. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello?
My name is Brianna Solana. What else do I need to know?
Your address, hon?
I live at 1440 South Pershing Avenue here in Liberal. And I'm also here, just like Veronica is saying, I don't think any of us are saying that we're against an Oxford House being here in town. Like I've said before, I think it'd be a great addition. But like we said, in residential area, I just think it's not the best place. I do understand that in other places, Dodge City, Garden City, there's other places where they do have them there and they've worked out. Nobody's saying that an Oxford House won't work. I just feel like the way that this specific house is being run, with it not even being open yet, certain people that have been asked from there at the house, Rhonda isn't here today, but she asked a person there about how it would be run, how often they would be getting drug tested. That person said they'd be getting drug tested every day, and that they, I believe, would be having 24-hour supervision. But then Rhonda was given a number to call to get more information. When she called this other lady said that they would only be drug testing whenever they feel like something suspicious is going on. Also, at first, they were saying that it was going to be 6 people living there. Then a different person said 8 people. So I just think the way it's being run already just doesn't speak well for the house being there. I know that Oxford houses have certain rules and regulations that they need to follow, but at the same time, how are we to know that they're actually going to follow those rules and regulations if they're already kind of being sneaky and not really knowing what's going on between themselves, which is supposed to be the people that are planning this house and being in charge of it. I mean, along with what Veronica was saying, she's my mother-in-law, and they do sometimes take care of my kids, and I just would not feel safe knowing that they're not following those rules and regulations. What could really happen? I'm not saying that all drug addicts are bad people, but it's just, how are we to know if they're already being sneaky and suspicious about these kinds of things? That's just my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Rivero. I live in 110 West 11th Street, And I wrote something and I want to share it with you guys. I'm really nervous and I couldn't just speak it out. Okay, I will commence by thanking those that have taken the time to read the petition I started on behalf of Oxford Housing Haven House. By simply reading it and giving it a chance, you have already taken the first step. You have contributed in making our beloved town liberal a better place to live. I get that some of your hearts are overcome by fear in times like these. We are tempted to run and hide. I would like to let you in on a secret. Peace will hold us together, but for that we first need to be perceptive. We can't grumble over the problem, then rebut on one of many solutions. In order to attain the peace we long for, we must take the action. Personally, I don't think I could be at peace with myself knowing addiction is wiping our generation. And I don't know if a lot of people have noticed, but Liberal is a really bad place that is like, I don't want to say infested with drugs, but it is pretty bad in here. And my addiction started when I was in high school, and I saw it myself. It's really bad in the youth. I feel like you can't claim to care about your kids and stuff, but because you don't really know like what they might face when they go to school. If we're not able, if we don't want to do a solution, they're going to be exposed to it in school, because it starts from there, believe it or not. It starts in the places you least expect. It's not just going to be in a house. No, there's literally students that give it to kids and they don't care. They try to peer pressure you. They tell you, oh, it's okay. You're going to feel good after. And then just with one choice, by saying yes and giving it a try, you're already hooked on that. And also, I talked to some people here in Liberal, and I wanted to share some of what they told me. I talked to Christy Glenn. She said, where is the compassion for others, the love for life? If this town would support something other than what's already established here, then maybe people would have a chance at life, a second chance to live, a chance to have change to the community other than profiting others. And then I talked to Sharon Nicholson. She said, why don't you put yourself in their shoes? Yes, these people have made bad choices, as we all have. Do they not deserve to have help and get their lives together? Give people a chance. Everybody has made bad choices and deserve a second chance. It's much easier for some in a structured environment. I talked to Tanya. He said, just because people are struggling doesn't mean anyone can vilify them. I live on West Pine. This affects me directly. I would love to tell my kids that there's a place that heals people down the street. I'll probably take them to donate supplies or food. That's the effect it'll have on my children personally. I talked to Brittany Agosto. She said, Liberal has gotten so bad and has been taken over by drugs. I always hear people saying Liberal needs to change this and that. But when things like these try to come, everyone wants to complain. Some people are judging something they have never even dealt with. People in Liberal struggle with change so much, that's why it's still the way it is. Give it a chance. And I really, really, really want to ask everybody to give it a chance. It's something different, and there's people that are scared of it because they've never seen a place like that here in town. And I feel like if they give it a chance, maybe it won't be as how they think it's gonna be. Yeah, you're gonna feel fear or whatever because you don't know about it. But if you give it a chance, then maybe you'll realize that maybe it's not what you think it was. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christopher Long. I'm the CEO of City on a Hill. I'm here today in capacity as chairman for the Seward County Coalition of Addiction Treatment Services, separate from City on a Hill. For the last 2 years, the coalition has got together to determine some of the needs in Liberal, and the number one need in Liberal was men's sober living, which is what an Oxford House is. Some members of the coalition, Dr. Huddleston, Don Witzke, Gary Dunham, Jason Maxwell, the municipal judge, several others. Tracy, who am I missing there?
Christy Molinex.
Christy.
And, that's it.
Okay. The number one need for the last 2 years was sober living for men. As you guys know, the former SCADAF program was primarily men. Our other treatment programs, which Oxford is not a treatment program, primarily dealt with women. So we tried co-ed for a year. I went about half nuts because that just doesn't work. So we decided to focus on women to get our programs on track and lined out. We have very good outcomes now. But I promised some of the coalition members that as soon as we were able to, we would look at sober living for Liberal. An opportunity came about. We raised $50,000 to secure a property. We didn't pick or choose any particular property. We had a house that looked nice, and we decided as a coalition to do that. The coalition members were extremely grateful. Members of the community, long-term serving officials from the community wanted an Oxford House in. It's not set up for 8 men, or it's not a treatment center, it's not anything like that. It's designed for men to come out of treatment after they've done reintegration and intermediate treatment. They have a place to go, a continuum of care. It's extremely structured. I met with the Dodge City chapter, who's going to be overseeing the first Liberal House here. They have weekly meetings, the president's address, they're on the phone all the time. There's absolutely no tolerance for drug use at all. It's a drug-free zone. No sex offenders. There's been all kinds of things thrown out there that just simply aren't true. It's a house for men to come who really are serious about their recovery, staying sober, and contributing to the community. That's why we did it. Garden City's chomping at the bit to do that, and I was the first to say no. We're going to Liberal first, and this is the first in Southwest Kansas. There hasn't been an Oxford in Finney County or Seward County in over 20 years. And this is the first of a program. We're all anxious to make sure that it's successful and succeeds, and we'll do whatever is necessary to do that. So there will be all kinds of eyes on this deal. It's not just going to be a fly-by-night thing. This took 2 years in the making. We put $50,000 down. We're going to see it through. Thank you.
If there's not anyone else to speak, this is a statement from Rhonda Salazar, who couldn't be here today. Her physical address is 513 Starlight Drive here in Liberal, Kansas. Says, to whom it may concern, I am writing this to give the City Council my concerns about the Haven Oxford House that is being placed in our neighborhood. When the Haven Oxford House was brought to my attention by my neighbors, I went over to the Haven House at 538 West Pine in Liberal, Kansas, and spoke with Chris Lund. Chris and I discussed the concerns of my neighbors and mine. Chris stated to me we had nothing to worry about and that the 6 residents would be drug tested every day. There will be cameras in the house to monitor the 6 men residents while they were inside the home. When we were discussing the drug testing every day, I inquired as to how it would be done when there was not anyone on site to supervise. And I will apologize if I have to paraphrase some of this just due to the typing. Chris said that anyone in the Oxford House had to be 2 years sober to get in, but from my understanding, if they complete the program at City on the Hill, they get sent to the Oxford House. Chris and I discussed the location and it not being in the correct zoning area, and that the zoning where it is located is single-family dwelling homes zoning. I explained to Chris the neighborhood would be working on getting them to move to the Haven Oxford House to a properly zoned area. I felt he was trying to coerce and intimidate me using names of board members on the Haven Oxford House for Liberal, Kansas. He gave me 3 names and wouldn't tell me the rest. Judge Jason Maxwell, Gary Dunham, and Carol Huddleston, all in Liberal, Kansas. When I requested information, Chris first told me that he had given the newspaper information. When I requested the same information, Chris told me to go to City on the Hill. When he told me to go to City on the Hill, inquired if City on the Hill was involved with the Haven House and to what capacity, Chris told me City on the Hill was not involved. Chris said he would get the information for me and then come back to me at noon. When I returned, he did not have the paperwork. He stated he was too busy to get it. He did give me a phone number to Leigh Ann Larson, Executive Director of Friends of Recovery. I called and spoke to her. She stated the 6 clients would only be drug tested if drug or alcohol use was suspected. She stated the 6 clients would not have on-site supervision. We were informed at the zoning meeting that there would be 8 clients instead of 6, and as we were told originally. She also stated City on the Hill had nothing to do with the Haven Oxford House, and that it was the only house in Liberal, Kansas for rent. We believe as a neighborhood the Oxford House is something that is needed in Liberal, Kansas, but we also believe the rules and regulations are to be followed by everyone, not just the ones that have money or money backing them. That is the reason we have rules and regulations like zoning laws and permits in the first place. If we didn't have rules and regulations, everything would be chaos. No one has the right to ignore laws, rules, or regulations. Thank you for your time, Rhonda Salazar.
Yes, go ahead.
I apologize, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
that's okay. I'm a very nervous person. I'm not a public speaker. My name is Susan Sandoval. I live at 901 South Calhoun. Our house will be sharing a fence, the backyard. And I am not against people recovering from drug and alcohol. I believe that that is a very good thing, but I am very concerned that it's right next door to my house. I do have a daughter who's disabled. She was born disabled. And my concern is her more than anything. My husband and I are already of an age that we've seen a lot. And where I work, I see a lot. I see people mostly that are not successful when it comes to probation, other things. But that's another thing. But my husband and I were thinking that someday we would sell our house or have our kids sell our house whenever we're not here anymore, and have them use the money to buy our daughter a place to live. Well, I don't think that's gonna be very possible now if that Hudson House goes in. Haven House goes in, because we're not gonna get much for that house. And again, my concern is more about my children, my daughter, the children in the neighborhood. We have a lot of elderly people that have lived there many years. A lady down the street has lived there since 1968. Another gentleman has lived there since he was 5. So many stories, so many people. We don't have much of a problem with our neighbors. We don't have much of a problem with the law. And we'd like to keep it that way. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else? We'll move on. Are there any groups that want to speak?
There's some back here.
Hello.
Hi. I am Brady Nordis. This is Karina Duran. I am the executive director over at Wheat Ridge Park, and Karina is the life enrichment director. We are talking on behalf of Wheat Ridge Park, Brookdale Senior Living, and Good Sam. We would like to incorporate a parade this Saturday with our family and our residents. Our residents have been locked behind closed doors since the 1st of March, or the beginning of March, due to COVID-19. This is one of the ways our residents can get outside, have something different that is happening with them, besides the daily activities that they're doing inside our facilities. Our residents haven't been able to hold their family members' hands since March. They have had to talk to families behind windows, through a phone call or through video chat. What we would like is to incorporate the community into this parade, and show just community support to the nursing homes in this area. So we had a couple options, but due to Brookdale being on 15th Street, we would have to use some of the main roads. So we were wanting some help in creating this parade and seeing if anybody would be able to help us out. So.
We had 2 options of routes. If you guys want to swing one by. I know they said last we talked to, I believe her name was Alyssa. She said Alicia. She said we couldn't use main roads, 15th Street, Western, Kansas Avenue. So we don't want to leave Brookdale out. I mean, I know we can do our own family parade, but it's all the nursing homes are in this together. So.
And when talking to Brookdale, they were saying they had quite a few residents interested in joining the parade too.
So is it their family members that are going to be in the parade? Is that who's going to be in the parade?
Yeah, we're also going to ask, community, if they want to be in it as well. They can come on in the line and hold some signs out whenever we pass by a nursing home.
I mean, our typical parade route is from 11th to 2nd on Kansas.
Well, yeah, but what they're saying is their residents are gonna be outside their
But I
facilities.
mean, I don't know that we have the staff or the barricades to block a route like this.
you talk to Bill about it, or, I mean, you guys had a conversation, or did you guys discuss it?
Well, actually, we were waiting until it came to you guys, because it is out of the norm for a parade route. So, yeah, I threw you guys under the bus.
Well, I'm a little bit biased because my dad's in Wheaton.
Yeah, and I know that. And I mean, and you would have a better understanding of what they're going through right now than anybody. When do you guys plan on opening your doors back up, since total ban is off as of Monday?
With nursing homes, we have to get with Seward County, and it will be a process. So we could be looking at a couple months to a couple weeks. It really just depends.
Hey, Lynn, do you mind if I take another look at one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, your shot.
Yeah, you already looked at it.
And if we see numbers pick up, then we go back to further
I mean, if they went
restrictions.
this way and cut out here and came back up and went down, they're only on this main road for a little bit, and then they could go, I mean, it's going through maybe
Yeah.
residential, but I don't.
Yeah, one thing
Those
that,
main roads.
that I'm hoping that we can have a discussion on, because I definitely don't think that, we understand where you're coming from. I mean, it's been 3 months that everybody's been locked inside the same walls, and that can make you go stir crazy, and everybody needs to see their families. What we probably need to do, though, is we need to work with the police department on this, and fire department, guaranteed, because that's gonna be any parade. That's for the safety of the people in the parade, as well as the public, and making sure that we have everything properly set up to be able to barricade everything off. What I'm wondering, looking at the schematic of the pathway that you guys have here, is if we could have a conversation about modifying some of the route. Because if we could get off of 15th Street and get off of Western, that would help a lot. Those are really difficult roadways for us to block for any kind of purpose. And so it's a lot different scenario if we have to cross 15th and then we have a parade on a residential street and then cross 15th again, as opposed to closing 9 blocks of 15th for any period of time, just because that's going to create traffic issues any other way. So I would definitely say we need to have another open conversation about it, and be able to look at if we can modify the route, and definitely we'll be working with fire chief, chief of police, city manager on what the most preferred route is. But I definitely, we want to see something like this happen. This would be pretty sweet. So we just got to figure out if we can alter that route at all, just to make it a lot
What's the date? What's the date?
This Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yeah, we called up here
2-3 weeks
I think
ago.
we've been trying since the end of June to try to get a hold of people.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, it's been difficult, especially with people in and out.
You see, that,
I have a clear map, if you guys want that.
to here.
Mhm.
So if you guys want to put your input in it. I have a
Absolutely.
clear one. But like, I mean, the main ones would be Wheat Ridge, Brookdale, and Woodsand.
Brookdale's really hard to.
Yeah,
I mean,
that'd
if
be
you
on the
cross, you
15th.
almost have to have everybody turn around on Fairway Drive.
Yeah, and I mean, and when you
Let's
talk
do the-
Western,
I'll just look at it.
15th, you're talking 2 of our
This is just
major
a blank template.
arterial streets. Where like when we do the normal parade route in Kansas from 11th to 2nd, you've got Washington, you've got Lincoln, that will take them, it'll bypass around that route.
Can I say that they're 4-lane though, and you could block 1 lane?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, I don't know how many cones we have, but if you set up cones,
I mean, yeah, we don't have that many cones.
yeah.
I mean,
The
and
only-
here's the thing, I
And then
mean,
you'd have people crossing, trying to turn. yeah.
could we possibly do this similar to how we would do a funeral procession? That we would have somebody in advance, hey, block this corner, you go by, then the street's open back up. Would that be, come on up.
He needs to see what we're talking about.
I mean, cause we do funeral processions down 15th Street. Obviously, we have no other choice. I mean, that would maybe, if we had a, but then again, you have that much staff. But I mean, really, you just have to have somebody in front, hey, we get to this intersection, you block it. Once they go through, they block the next, you know. And I mean, again, it would be no different than a funeral, because some idiot's gonna go through it. You
Yeah,
can
I
be
mean,
sure
the
of that.
only thing that I would be against with blocking off, 1 laning and allowing 1 lane is it only takes one person to make a mistake and you have loss of life in that scenario.
had, I mean, you're talking 20 cars or 200 cars?
A small amount, we're thinking it would probably only take 20, 30 minutes.
No, the number of vehicles.
How many cars?
Not many, just our family members.
Okay.
I don't have a specific amount.
Yeah, I would say around 20, 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
30 cars, that would be similar to a funeral.
Yeah, I mean,
Could
that
you-
makes a difference if you're gonna have.
Could you maybe do a deal where you have the family members that can do it, sign up, and then we limit it to a number, set a number? I know I'm out of town, or I would be interested, but I won't be here, so I'll have to just go over to the back window, but, you know, I think if you could set a number and know what that number was gonna be, and, because I think that's where it becomes difficult, is you get family members
Kelly,
from
is that
people from
something
3
you
different
guys would
places.
be willing to help with for that one day? To help you, PD? Or are you tied up?
We're short staffed.
Okay.
We can barely staff the trucks in the stations.
Okay.
Our biggest concern with it, probably wouldn't be so much, our concern would be if we need access to something in that area, since it's a moving thing, it's a lot of funeral procession for us. So hearing that number, if it was 200 cars where the last car was leaving Good Sam while the first one was getting to Brookdale, that's a whole different animal. 20 or 30 car procession, maybe it
You could deal with it.
Maybe it could just be escorted, and I feel like we can do it.
Okay.
I don't know how much assistance we
Make
can
it
get out
happen.
of traffic.
We can make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we want to limit it to 30. I'm going to say we don't throw 31 out, but 30 doesn't mean 37.
You could split the groups too, couldn't you, and have them do a group, just like you said, and necessarily it doesn't have to be a parade. If 30 cars decide they're going the same place, it's not necessarily illegal for them to drive that direction, but
Right.
but it's gonna be a lot safer in that kind of group if they could be escorted, and if you had, say, per se 40 and you knew what you were gonna have, maybe have 20 go and then wait 15 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't know how long you wanna leave the residents outside, but what time of day are you doing it?
We're looking at having everybody meet up about 10, 10:30,
So
and then
maybe-
start.
Maybe not as hot,
11.
even though my dad likes it better hot anyway, but.
Yeah,
So
try to
most
keep
of
it
them don't mind
more
hot.
So basically, it'd be over by 12, 12:30.
Yes.
So are we willing to allow parade permit? Is that?
I mean, to be honest with you, that is your call. That's why I threw you 5 under the bus.
Are we willing to offer a parade?
Do we need to
parade
make take a vote on that, or make it, or just?
It's just
Consensus. I'd say consensus.
Okay. You need to see Alicia over there to get a, no?
I'm gone
Oh.
this week, so if you guys give permission, then they can go ahead and start it, make sure you have your 30, we'll go ahead and just have your 30 people signed up, and then, we'll give you a contact. I have Karina's info, so I will give that to our police chief, and then you guys can work with him.
And how about parade permit?
We do not have a parade permit. Usually, how parades are held, they come to us 2 weeks before, and they're either approved, we check with police, city manager approves it, and then I send a notice out to police, fire, streets, EMS, and communications. So,
I think everybody on the commission's in favor of it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Where
Thank
will
you
you
guys.
Thank you.
Where will you start at? Wheat Ridge? Or
Light Park?
Light Park?
Yeah.
Light Park.
Try to
We
get
can hit
Brookdale,
Brookdale
get that
on the
out of the way.
side.
And then get on the Main Street.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Anything else from groups? Do you have something?
I was gonna say, real quick, just because I love it, getting to see this many people come to a meeting, express their opinions on both sides of every issue. So I think that was fantastic. As a commissioner, I do have a couple questions that would go towards zoning and our city legal counsel. The reason I want to ask these now instead of waiting till a more applicable time is because we do have an executive session at the beginning or at the end of this meeting, so that's going to put a lot of you waiting a very long time. And this is just me speaking on my behalf and asking specific questions. As far as the zoning, is that zoning for a nonprofit organization to own a house like that any different than the same zoning that it would be in a normal residential area?
So it's, wouldn't be allowed in R1, it would be in R3. It's not like the city's saying no, it's just that district there, zone for a boarding house or something like that.
Gotcha. So is the zoning realistically the only part of this that the city of Liberal, as far as the city commission and city staff actually have anything to do with? Otherwise, private sector company, private sector business making their own decisions.
Yeah. Zoning's basically all it is. Have a plate fire. Nothing to do with fire, so there's no fire codes or nothing.
So technically speaking, in any community, an organization like that, all they have to do is find a house that's in the proper area for zoning, and then there's no way that.
Right, there could be covenants within, when they put them in, that could still be applicable, but if they don't have covenants that are in place, then zoning, if they have zoning in the city, which we do, which is where we're at.
Yeah, those are the main questions I had, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys have more that you'd like to express. And since I doubt a lot of people will stick around after the meeting, if you guys want to take my cell number down, all of our cell numbers are available on the city website. But I'll give you mine specifically. I would recommend texting first, and then we can have a phone call. But it's 620-629-0655. So I'd love to be able to get more information on this, just because I wasn't as well versed in this coming into this meeting. So I would love to be able to have as much feedback as possible, and I greatly appreciate everyone's time for coming to the meeting and sharing your opinions. I'm done, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any other items from groups? We'll move on then to the consent agenda, please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Harden to approve the consent agenda as printed. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. The next item is number 7, Smith Prop Jet donation to Mid-America Air Museum.
Okay, and I'm gonna have to beg you to please approve this in donation, because Bob is unable to be here because he is unloading this plane as we speak. The guy got a little bit ahead of us, but he's donating this plane. Everything's in here. It's a unique plane. We don't have any other like it. It was a custom built plane. There's pictures and everything, and basically all we need is your approval to accept it. It's a prop jet that you can see the pictures. It's pretty neat. It set some record near 500 mile an hour for a prop jet. So all staff is requesting, Mr. Emmel's requesting, please approve it before he gets it all the way unloaded.
And I might add, it has an appraised value of $155,800.
I'll make a motion that we approve the acceptance of the Smith prop jet donation to the Mid-American Air Museum.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, seconded by Commissioner Martinez to approve the donation of the Smith prop jet to the Mid-America Air Museum. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
I'm sure Bob appreciates this very much.
Yes.
It'll be a great addition to the museum.
Are they gonna want it inside?
Yes, yes. It's a small plane. I think he's already found a home for it.
The next item is number 8, grant acceptance from Kansas Department of Commerce. Karen LaFreniere. Hello.
Good afternoon, Ms. Mayor and Commissioners. At the last meeting, we had a resolution to apply for a grant through Department of Commerce. Since that meeting, we have received a $135,000 grant that will go towards small businesses. And this request is to approve that and allow staff to administer the funds. The way we will do that is we will take applications and qualify. The business will have to qualify by low to moderate income. Half of the employees will, or more than half of the employees will have to be low to moderate income employees, so those are the jobs we're trying to save. We'll allow around 4 months of invoices that we will reimburse for those businesses. So that then we submit to Department of Commerce, and they send funds to us to disperse to the businesses.
Okay, can we have a motion to accept the CDBG-CV grant?
Make a motion that we accept the CDBG-CV grant and approve to execute any necessary contracts, documents, and draws to administer the grant funds.
Second.
Commissioner Lindenberger.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenberger to accept the CDBG-CV grant and approve the execution of necessary contracts, documents, and draws to administer the grant funds. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Karen.
much, Karen.
The next is number 9, the police department. Police department emergency response kits. And I believe Brant Helson is going to.
Actually, with this, we're doing a dual thing. I'll let Chief Cutshall make an introduction here and
Okay.
then.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to take this time to introduce the new deputy chief. He's coming from Missouri. This is Brian Way.
Brian, welcome to the community.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome here. I appreciate everyone's support.
Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you. We're glad to have you.
Yes, we are.
I'm Lieutenant Brandon Helsel. I'm here to actually talk about the agenda items. First off, the Liverpool Police Department has received an anonymous donation in the amount of $10,078.85, and we request your permission to accept that donation.
Can I have a motion to accept the anonymous donation?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren, second by
Martinez.
Commissioner Martinez to accept the $10,078.85 donation from an anonymous donor for the police department for purchase of medical supplies.
Thank you very much.
Any discussion, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now, Brad.
Sorry, first time owner. Secondly, we'd like to take a portion of that money and buy emergency response kits. We want to buy 2 types of response kits. The first, we ask for 25 crisis response kits. They cost $199.98 a piece. Each of these kits will go in each of the department's patrol vehicles. Their use is for critical incident response. God forbid we ever have to respond to a natural disaster such as a tornado, an active shooter in the schools, or any kind of mass trauma incident that would overwhelm our local emergency or EMS services. Generally, there's only one ambulance working at a time. If we're lucky on a good day, 2. So if more than that were needed and they needed repair, we don't have time to call people out. So that's what these are for. They're not an EMT bag, so we will not act in any that you can see like a paramedic or EMT do. These are totally to stop large bleeding incidents, whether it be lost a limb, bleeding in the chest and trunk area. That's what these treat solely, and that's it. So we're asking for 20 of those in the amount of $3,999.60. We're also asking for 55 basic first aid kit for each officer, each commissioned officer of the police department, and another set for each member of the special response team. Each of these, they're about the size of, they're 6 inches tall, 3 by inches wide. Each of those carry a combat action tourniquet to control severe bleeding, a very large compression bandage, some gauze, and the purpose of those is if an officer is ever harmed or killed or seriously hurt, they have the ability to provide aid to themselves before an ambulance could arrive. The total cost for all these items is $6,845.50 to include shipping.
Do the contents of these things expire? Do they have an expiration date?
Yes, all medical supplies will expire eventually, but as long as they stay enclosed and we don't use them, they'll stay stable for at least 10 years.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve the purchase of 20 SRO crisis response kits and 55 M basic individual first aid kits for the total amount of $6,845.50.
Have a motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker to purchase 20 SRO crisis response kits and 25 M basic individual first aid kits for a total of $6,845.50. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next is number 10, library appointment.
I'll make a motion that we approve Clarissa Carrillo to be appointed to serve on the library board to begin July 2020 and end July 2024.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Warren to approve Clarissa Carrillo to the library board beginning July 20th to July 2024. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. 5-0. The next item is new road striping equipment.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello.
Mayor and Commissioners, I'm only here to introduce Keith Bridenstine as our new traffic maintenance supervisor. And he's been there about a month so far and made leaps and bounds. And if y'all approve this bill, you're gonna see leaps and bounds when it comes to street striping too, because he's anxious to start it himself. So be nice, please.
Well, congratulations on the promotion, Keith.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I'm here to ask for a new street striping machine, paint sprayer. The current one we have was purchased in 2005. It is in need of major repairs, and even with major repairs, it is not adequate to stripe the streets as they need to be striped. And I'm sure all of you have driven around this town and seen what needs to be done to the streets. So I'm here to ask the commission to approve the purchase of a Line Laser V5900 paint machine from Sherwin-Williams in the amount of $10,000.66.
Is that budgeted item?
It's
Non-budgeted, you say, okay.
And where would we be looking at pulling this out of?
Streets and
Streets and drainage, capital improvement.
I think in
Streets and
2005, when I was
drainage.
here, they told me that would last 20 years. It didn't make it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it might have. Had the previous guy in this spot maintained it correctly.
Who knows how to use this machine?
The company will actually bring a couple guys out and run me and some of the other guys through a tutorial on how to use it. And I'm anxious to, there's some intersections in this town that desperately need straightened.
This will relieve about 25% of my phone call complaints.
And I also have inside information that we do have a city commissioner that knows how to run this machine. I won't give up his name or anything.
Yeah.
But that narrowed it down to 4.
Yeah. So how come there's no other options? It's just, this is the only striper you guys
Well,
can find, or?
From what we've been through, this is the best model, this is the best brand of machine you can get. The Parks Department currently has the same brand of machine that we've purchased for painting the ball fields. The same brand of machine was purchased for the airport. It is local. They send guys in to teach us. We can get the parts locally in our local Sherwin-Williams store. The best machine, and some of the parts will be interchangeable if, you know, the airport ends up in a pinch and they need nozzles from me. In an emergency, I can get them nozzles or they can get me nozzles. So it makes sense to go with the same brand citywide.
Similar equipment then.
And just to reiterate one thing, Chris, while the guys were here, we had them come out and look at our ball field machine, because I'm like, I don't like mixing 50% paint and 50% water, because of the longevity, I'm having to paint all the time.
Right.
He's like, well, you shouldn't have to do that. So he come out and looked at our machine. He said, our machine's made to put acrylic paint down. You're not using acrylic paint. He's like, I'm gonna give you 20 gallons. We're gonna change the tip out, and you should see drastic changes.
Yeah.
So in the next week, he's supposed to be here and give us paint and let us try that. Because if I can get the paint to stay for 2 weeks instead of 2 days, then it saves us a lot of money and labor and
A lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at it, it doesn't work.
I seen it has a bead dispenser, so that's kind of nice too.
Yeah.
The reflective stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And this machine is set up, it's got an automatic little computer system that you program it in that you're going this distance, and it has 2 guns, so it'll do a solid stripe and then the dotted stripe beside it for like the turn lane on Pine that needs done.
A lot of places that.
A lot of places, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of a Line Laser V5900 paint machine from Sherwin-Williams in the amount of $10,000.66 to come out of streets and drainage.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Martinez to approve the purchase of a Line Laser V5900 paint machine from Sherwin-Williams for $10,000.66. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Keith.
Get that here. Hurry, please.
Last week?
Yeah. yesterday. Okay, the next item is number 12, Arcalen Road.
This would have been the only item that would have been on the agenda for the last meeting that we canceled. And so I polled all of you and got a consensus. We had received an anonymous donation to do part of it. And actually, I guess Gary with Earls and Kevin and myself, we missed it. We thought that was gonna do the entire road, but that was just to fix a milling problem. So we're gonna have to pay our cost of about $12,334 to actually compact it and grade it, but they're gonna work the millings. And so I don't know how many of you got phone calls on how bad that road is, but we'd already had the consensus, and I believe J&R has already started. So all we need to do is just make it in a meeting to approve this.
The first thing we need to do on this is accept the anonymous donation in the amount of $14,887.
Make a motion that we accept the anonymous donation in the amount of $14,887.
Second.
Chris, motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker to approve the anonymous donation of $14,887. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, motion carries. Now we need to approve the expenditure to approve the Arcalen Road repairs in the amount of $12,334.30.
The total cost would be the $27,221.
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just our share is gonna be.
Yeah, right, okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the expenditure of the $27,221.30 to make the necessary improvements at the Arcalen Road.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren and second by
Commissioner Martinez.
Thank you. I can't do that. Commissioner Martinez to approve the expenditure of $27,221.30 to improve the road at Arcalen Park. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried.
And if you did notice, there was another quote on the back.
I saw that quote.
I wasn't real good at math, but I did that one real fast.
Okay, the next item is comments by city staff.
I was asked just before the meeting started to come up and talk about fireworks.
I asked him to come because I've had a lot of calls in the last few days, so I appreciate your coming and
Okay,
explaining to us.
we can do kind of a question and answer session, but I'll start off saying it's gonna be pretty much a day-to-day thing as of right now. Don't need to tell anyone that it's been really dry here lately, and if it doesn't rain pretty soon, there's gonna have to be pretty serious talks about, are we even gonna allow people to shoot them off this year or not? As it stands right now, July 1st would be the first time people would be able to buy them in, or sell them in town, as well as shoot them off in town. We go July 1st through the 4th for selling, and through the 5th for firing fireworks. If it doesn't rain pretty soon, that'll be talks with our fire chief as well as the county fire chief to get a plan together. The kicker's gonna be, we can put a ban on people shooting them. Our ordinance does not put a ban, or give us the ability to put a ban on selling them in town. So they'll still be able to sell them, but if we do place a ban, we cannot ban them from selling fireworks. We can just put a ban that they can't shoot. So there's gonna be some issues there if we don't get rain pretty soon. Typically, about the end of June, very 1st of July, we almost always get a big rain, so let's hope for that. Unless you all wanna go ahead and just ban them entirely again.
It's almost like you're suggesting that.
No, can't blame a guy for trying. Does that answer enough questions?
Yes.
Yes.
There are some limits. You did mention on what fireworks we could and couldn't shoot here in town. There are a few items that you're not able to shoot in town. Bottle rockets, of course, are illegal in the state. We have a ban in town on Roman candles. If you buy from a fireworks stand in town, they will not sell, or should not sell you anything that is illegal, because we go by and we inspect those fireworks stands to make sure they do not have the fireworks that we cannot shoot in town. So if you buy them here in town, they're gonna be good to be shot here in town.
Okay, any other questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Cody.
you. Appreciate that. Any other city staff? Yes.
I just wanted to make sure nobody had any questions on the Haven House. I was going to come up, but
I was gonna
talk to people before.
That's what you're talking about. So right now, where they have it doesn't meet the requirements, is what you're, is
Yeah,
that
they
what
do
you're
not
saying?
meet the requirements of the zoning regulations. That's what we put in there to show R1 does not allow any boarding houses or anything of that nature.
Right.
And in their own,
Did they not inquire with the city about the way that it was
No, they
putting
were
down?
exactly right. They snuck in like in the night. As far as the neighborhood, they bypassed us completely. In fact, the first we knew about it was when Connie called me. And I got with Kevin and he knew nothing about it.
They probably could approach the zoning board for a variance, but
yeah.
it would be up to the zoning
Go to your
board.
booklet in there, it looks like that. We provided you, go to page 7. It states in there that they are to, if any questions, they are to seek out the zoning authorities. So they say themselves. If you,
But even if they go to the zoning board and get a variance, you guys still have the authority not to approve that variance.
Yeah. They would request it to the zoning board. If the zoning board approves to recommend it, then it would come to you guys.
Now, are there places that we have in town that have houses that would meet their applicable needs that are already zoned properly to where they wouldn't have to?
they're all over the place.
There's all kind, I mean, actually, they had that building right across the street here that they were trying to do, what, 2 years ago or a year ago?
Yeah, that was the one that there was that other drug and alcohol rehabilitation
Yes.
place in.
Yeah.
I think it would have been,
So-
yeah, you're saying R2 or R3?
R2 or R3, they should be.
Yeah, so it would have been very easy for them to
R3
just buy a piece of property.
So why are they so adamant about putting in this home instead of putting it in a place where it's already properly zoned?
Price?
And then,
Well, yeah, but the price actually should be cheaper in R2 and R3, I mean, can be.
They
I mean,
gotta-
it has,
they gotta
it
have-
has
they
to
gotta
do with
have
they bought
house
it before they looked into where it
Did they,
goes, right?
did they even
Put the
purchase
card
it
in.
under the organization's name, or did they purchase it under an individual's name?
I'm not sure actually, to be honest.
Well, I mean, as far as I knew, Chris Lund and City and Hill was big on this until all of a sudden it was a problem. And it's all Oxford House, we're not part of. So, I mean,
So it's not City on the Hill then?
no.
And yet it's named Haven House, so you go figure, what is it?
Well, yeah, I think the frustrating thing about it is that the applicable solution to meet both of the groups that came and spoke with us today is to not have it be put in an area like that when we already have applicable other areas that are zoned properly
That's
for
right.
it. So, I mean, that's on the organization themselves to make a better decision.
And I did not hear one comment from anybody that says Liberal does not need this type of facility.
Yeah, we definitely need the facility.
But it was, hey, I mean, it's the same as, I'm pretty sure that we're not gonna let me put a adult entertainment across from the block, across from the high school. It's not zoned for that. I mean, that's why we have zoning rules.
This is a perfect analogy.
Well, I mean, we would let a bar there, I mean, there's certain
Yeah.
businesses you just don't let go in certain areas.
Well,
by
yeah, I mean,
zoning.
because that's the thing is, even though this is a living facility, this is very much a business.
It's a boarding house.
Yeah, and
They-
so I mean.
They pay rent. I mean, it's a boarding house.
Yeah.
And there's no supervision. I don't care what they tell you. These 8 men live with no
Well,
supervision.
because I can absolutely, I understand both sides. We definitely need things like this here, and the more the merrier. But they're absolutely right about it devaluing the properties in the neighborhood, and there being better places to have this put. And I mean, the pressure almost needs to be placed on the organization themselves for making a short-sighted decision that we have no control over, essentially, other than tell them no.
Yeah. I mean, no, what we couldn't have done is the neighbors come in, it was saying R3. Oh, well, they don't want it there. We can't change the zoning to R1 and think we're gonna win that in court. But this was already, and that's what they've done in some places where the community has changed the zoning after the fact. and they've lost those cases, but our zoning's been in place for how long? It's been an R1 for how long?
Well, actually,
Back in 1966, this same area was zoned R1, RS at the time, which was an R1.
well, even though if they moved in and somebody come in and asked for it to be rezoned, they would, it'd be grandfathered in anyway if they did it while it was R2 or R3.
Right. That would be.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be
Yeah,
asked.
but we're not that
after
point
the
here. I mean,
fact.
all they need to do is go where it's
Yeah,
allowed
to
to
me,
be.
that's
Yeah.
the simple deal is, it's not, it was for them to make the right decision in the first property, not for us to make it work.
Well, and my opinion on it would be that absolutely not. We're not gonna look at rezoning anything that's already zoned for residential neighborhoods
That's
when there's
why we
already
have
applicable
zoning
places.
laws.
Exactly.
No, we're not gonna start that.
Yeah, I'm all for them doing it in the right place.
Yeah.
And then
That's
it
always
would be the same
frustrating when a
situation
private
if
sector
those-
business does
if
something
those,
like that.
Well, it sneaks in and does.
Those people in that residential area came in and complained, then I would have to say I would still support the zoning rules and it would have to allow it. So it's just the same, I mean, to me, we just support our own zoning rules and they should
Yeah.
have looked into it to start with. but-
Yeah, their rules say that they're supposed to come check with the,
Yeah.
the zoning people as well, so.
Seems like their short-sighted decision of trying to save money by sneaking that in is probably going to end up costing them exponentially more.
It will.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have put the sign up, we didn't even, may have.
We wouldn't have known until they moved in.
Yeah.
Well, I think they have people that own rental property so they can rent it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd
Thank
like-
you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I was like Connie, I got a call when the sign was going up, I guess, and didn't know anything about it. I said, well,
I hadn't heard anything about it until I
talked
got
to
here.
Kevin, they said it's gotta be zoned for that.
I've done a good job of making sure I only get very serious phone calls.
Anybody else? Any other city staff?
I just want to comment real quick. Regardless of what's happened so far, as far as all the parks and everything, one thing you gotta realize, whether they're open or closed, the guys still have to maintain everything, and I think they've done a heck of a job. You know, with the wind and just the weather and everything. Billy's Car Show this weekend, I thought was fabulous. Great crowds, the ball tournament, same thing, lots of people out there. We've got all the park bathrooms open, all the playgrounds are open, everything's got signage on it. Golf course Saturday had like record ring fees for a day of Billy's Car Show, which was pretty amazing. The cemetery's come along, it's a little dry, Mother Nature's gotta help us out there. But I just wanna commend the guys for doing what they've done. We've taken on no summer help in the parks. So we've got 5 guys doing what typically we have 10, because we usually get 5 to 6 summer kids. We just feel like with the COVID, we can't track where they're going, so we don't even want to mess with it. And they're doing a heck of a job.
Thank you guys very much for all your hard work.
Yeah, tell them thanks.
And
we don't see them.
Kelly just got back from Alaska. Ask him how the weather was.
Highs are 70, lows are 40. No wind.
Oh, wow.
Any other?
We had the 70 wind.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Are you next? You wanna be next?
I guess, well, again, I want to thank the staff because they have been super great making it through this. It's not been the easiest. Like Brad said, he's got the signs up everywhere. I went in there, I thought I had one for show and tell what he had up, but apparently we must have needed it and put it up somewhere. And Ronnie can tell you, we were in McPherson, their sign says caution. This is clean as the last person that used it. That was their signage.
True
And so,
words can't be spoken.
so it made Brad's signs look really professional and look like,
Yeah.
you know.
This is your duty. If you want to apply for charitable funding, you need to come and get your application. There'll be no exceptions made. I want to thank Mike Smith in Johnson, Kansas for donating his Smith prop jet. And I appreciate the donations from the anonymous donors for money for the police department and money to help with our Kalen Road repair expenses. I have had lots of phone calls about downed tree limbs. Is there anything we can do for that?
Well, I mean, actually, that was a consensus by the commission. We brought this up over a year ago that, hey, if it's not declared an emergency, We don't go mow people's lawns, we don't make their beds. You're responsible for your own. We take care of our own. They need to take care of their own tree limbs, and that was ran through the commission, and it was a consensus that, because otherwise, we're gonna do budget. If you guys wanna try and figure out where Chris is gonna come up with $100,000 to babysit people's tree limbs, I guess we can do that.
What about a free dump?
That, Chris, where are we on getting the coupons? I know with the COVID, we didn't put the coupons on the water bill. Or did we drop the ball on that, or were we gonna get them on there?
I'll be happy to check on that. I'm not sure.
I apologize, I forgot.
Typically, we do put those out in June, and then people would be able to take them out towards July. But the nice thing about it, though, is it's really at our option, so we would still be able to do that should the commission continue. And essentially what that is, it comes out on people's utility bills, and they're able to take their receipt out to the landfill. Then in turn, the landfill will, I think, check their ID and whatnot, and they'll just keep that for the city, and then we'll actually end up paying for those as they bill them out every month. I'll be happy to check on that, though.
I think that would be some help.
But I mean,
to do
the
that.
key thing is, if it's declared a disaster area,
Right.
whether it's tornado, ice storm, whatever, we have a chance to recoup that extra expense. Otherwise, that's coming off the top of the general fund, and that means somewhere, we gotta cut somewhere where you budgeted.
Okay, that will help if you can do that. That's all I have. Nick?
No comment.
Ronnie?
I guess you made it easy for me to say the same thing. No comment.
He's still in shock from Taylor not having comment.
Just want to say the parks and the village deal for the staff, their restrooms all look good. So thank you, guys.
That's it.
Chris?
Well, I'd like to thank definitely the guys in the parks, because the grass is very green and it looks awesome. So, and I'd also like to thank everybody that came out and actually made their point, because it's really nice actually having people here telling us what they feel about and what they're strong about. So we need to know those kind of things. We want more people to show up and let us know what's going on. That's all I got.
Okay, the next item is vouchers. We need to ratify the vouchers for June 9th, 2020. You have that in there.
Make a motion that we ratify the June 9th, 2020 vouchers in the amount of $1,584,988.88.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker, that we ratify the June 9th, 2020 vouchers in the amount of $1,584,988.88. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we need to approve the vouchers for June 23rd, 2020.
Make a motion that we approve the vouchers for June 23rd, 2020 in the amount of $2,422.72.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker, to approve the June 23rd, 2020 vouchers in the amount of $2,422.72. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, the next item is an executive session.
Before I make this motion, do we need any city personnel in the room besides the city attorney?
We need.
HR director.
We need Bruce. I think yeah, Bruce he's on standby over there.
All right, I'm gonna give us a solid 2 minutes for anybody that needs a bathroom break. All right, I move to go into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 754319B1, which is the personnel matters of non-elected personnel exemption under the Kansas Open Meetings, and includes City Attorney Kane and HR Director Bruce. To the executive session, we will go in at 3:30 and resume at 3:45.
Can I have a second to the motion that?
Second.
We have a second to the motion that Commissioner Harden made, a second by Commissioner Warren. Any discussion? We will go into executive session.
Commissioner assume everybody's in
Yes.
favor of that, right?
Oh, yes, I'm
Everybody's in
sorry.
favor?
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
I think we're getting ready to take off. Let me use my phone.
Well, take a look at the break room and see what all we can do with that.
Sound is
Yeah.
on.
There's some in that facility that I'm just like, what is going on here?
The way that whole thing's set up, and it's so old that it's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna spend like, I don't know, how many millions of dollars would be to make a new?
Well, you know what, though, if you look at the design schematics of that building, it was built to go like, and that would be actually the chief of the building implementation.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that, actually.
Well, that's perfect working for all engineering, that's their IT, so they gotta have all that fun
The meeting will come back to order. Does the commission have any action to take as a result of the executive session?
I'd like to say it this way, no action at this time.
Okay, all right, no action at this time. Thank you, everybody. Meeting is adjourned.